The government of Uganda postpones the sending of cash to vulnerable people, as many Ugandans have been waiting for the cash. Today, the 6th of July 2021. We have the story in our bulletin today. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahawe Kajura, and in the headlines. Uganda to buy 2 million COVID-19 jabs from the US farm. And government postpones the sending of cash to the vulnerable people. Kenya tea growers shift to produce pineapple as climate changes. As sports today, Uganda's football contingent confirms return program from Saudi Arabia. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. Now, Africa Today starts with one of our top stories. Now, Uganda has concluded a deal to procure 2 million COVID-19 vaccines from American pharmaceutical company Johnson & Johnson through the African Union. Highly placed sources told TV Africa that the Solicitor General cleared the deal last week, paving way for the actual acquisition of the single-shot jabs. Our reporter has more.
The government has cumulatively set aside 41 billion Ugandan shillings to buy COVID vaccines, which are being sourced from different countries, including the United States, United Kingdom, Cuba, Russia, and China. This is in addition to sourcing the vaccines through COVAX, a facility set up by the World Health Organization to ensure that poorer countries can access the life-saving jabs. Uganda had last Friday vaccinated only 4.5% of the targeted 21.9 million people since launching nationwide mass vaccination on March 10th, official figures show. The country received the initial 864,000 Oxford AstraZeneca vaccines through COVAX, and India donated by an additional 100,000 jabs. Speaking last Friday, Health Minister Dr. Jane Ruth Aceng said the Ministry of Health has concluded the initial legal requirements to procure 2 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine through the Afreximbank and African Union. Legal requirement to procure 9 million doses of vaccines through COVAX facility under the cost-sharing framework has also been concluded. The first batch of Janssen, the COVID vaccines made by the American firm, is expected in the country next month, but full delivery will spread out until mid-next year.
The government of Uganda has postponed the sending of cash to the vulnerable people who have been affected by the lockdown, as promised by the Prime Minister, Honorable Nabbanja. Our reporter has more. The distribution of mobile money was expected to kick off today. However, this did not happen. Some people say they are happy about the government's initiative, but worried about the corruption that would be involved through the distribution of the relief money. Mr. Ronald Mokoza, the Deputy RCC Machindi Division, however, says registration has been completed and the list have been sent to the Ministry of Gender. He says the money will be sent to the beneficiaries only starting on 7th, which will be sent in batches.
The issue of relief fund, that is the 100,000 shillings, has been handled very well. As I talk now, registration has been completed and the lists have been verified and sent to the Ministry of Gender through the town clerk. So we ensured that all those in the other category of beneficiaries do access the funds, unlike before. So a lot of confusion has been going on, that people's names were missing, and that anomaly was rectified. So people should charge their phones and expect money probably starting 7th.
Tomorrow.
Starting 7th, that's tomorrow. Yes, starting 7th. We should start expecting money. because money will be sent in batches. Those who are ready receive, like that. But all who fall in the category will receive the money.
Okay.
However, at this point, many people are still complaining how they have not been registered for the funds and are still waiting patiently. Mr. Mukoza emphasizes on the beneficiaries of the relief money. Now, the High Court in Kampala has ordered for an urgent hearing of an application seeking to produce 8 people who have been arrested by security agencies in relation to the murder of the driver and the daughter of the Works and Transport Minister General Katumba Wamala. Civil Division Judge Philip Odoki today issued the order saying that the application seeking to have the suspects produced in court, if not heard urgently, there is likelihood to continuous infringement of the suspect's constitutional right to liberty since they have been in detention for more than 48 hours. As such, after listening for the application seeking that the application be certified as one that requires urgency, Odoki ordered that the case demanding for the release of production of the suspects be heard on Monday, July 12, 2021. The suspects are Kamada Walusimbi, Mohamed Kagugwe, Siriman Kasambira, Mustafa Kawawa, Juma Saidi, Idris Serada, Swakibu, Juma and Tata Uma. The order followed a successful expert application filed by the suspects' lawyers from Wameli and Company Advocates, led by Geoffrey Tudiasima on Monday. The lawyers first filed an application seeking for the production of the said suspects, arguing that they were arrested between June 24th and July 2nd, 2021, and to date, they have never been produced in court to be informed of their lawful charges. As such, the lawyers stated that this is a continuous violation of the suspect's constitutional right to liberty. But given the fact that the Chief Justice Alfonso Winyidolo had previously issued an order suspending the hearing of all cases due to the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the exception of only urgent matters, the lawyers had to file another application for a certificate of urgency, which has been granted by the judge today. Reporting for TV Africa News, Nahawe Kajur. Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, following a total lockdown implemented by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni on the 19th of June 2021, COVID-19 cases have currently reduced due to Ugandans following the standard operating procedures.
Uganda reimposed a 42-day lockdown on 19th June 2021 as coronavirus infections surged in the country. President Yoweri Museveni said in his Friday night address that he was tired of receiving calls about deaths, but critics say he presented a wish list that would instead worsen the situation for Ugandans. The Health Ministry had shared the latest coronavirus figures earlier, indicating 1,564 new cases recorded in the previous 24 hours. This included 42 new deaths, bringing the total to 584. 1,400 active cases had been admitted at health facilities around the country. After presenting those figures in his national address, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni said Ugandans had been violating an earlier ban on inter-district travel. Speaking in an exclusive interview with TV Africa, the Deputy Resident City Commissioner of Machinde Division, Ronald Mukoza, said the 42 days lockdown has positively impacted the country since cases have reduced and the situation is promising that Uganda will overcome the deadly pandemic.
Before, we used to have cases whereby people used to die instantaneously, but these days the number of deaths have tremendously reduced. We can see some sunshine as people have started taking seriously the SOPs. They have also felt that the disease is serious. So we have a ray of hope that the situation will normalize at one time.
He said cases have reduced in hospitals since some people are being treated at home. However, they are being managed by medical practitioners.
There are those patients who are being managed from home, and the reports we get So there is good progress.
Okay.
They are being handled well. And out of those, we have not heard of death in the past days. So they are being managed at home very well.
Results of COVID-19 tests done on 3rd July 2021 confirmed 482 new cases and 27 new deaths in Uganda and 84,116 cumulative confirmed cases. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Now, in our international news today, some tea growers in Kenya are shifting to growing other crops as climate change threatens tea plantation in the country. We have more.
A May 2021 report by Charity Christian Aid says that by 2050, the changing climate will slash Kenya's optimal tea production conditions by over a quarter. This would hurt farmers and workers alike.
Tea was planted when I was young, 1959. During that time, we had a lot of rain. It rained here. Everything here looked like forest. So there was a lot of rain, and this tea was being plucked 4 times a week, 4 times a month, after every 7 days. These days, when we moved on, the climate changed. When it changed, we are not getting as much rain as we used to get then. So now, instead of 4 times, we do it 2 times. Now you see, you get half of what you were getting before. Therefore, I decided to change with the changing times. And I moved to pineapples, because pineapples don't need much rain.
Veronica Ndetu, a climate change expert at Kenya's Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, say that they have reports saying that by 2050, the area that they are growing tea is going to be like half of what is there. She added that meant that in areas currently that are growing tea, farmers that are depending on tea are going to increasingly become more vulnerable as the climate continues to change, adding that the area is also going to be unsuitable in terms of the soils.
We have reports saying that by 2050, the area that we are growing tea is going to be a half of what there is. And so that means that areas currently that are growing tea, farmers that are depending on tea are going to increasingly become more vulnerable as the climate continues to change. The area is also going to be unsuitable in terms of the soils, suitability of the soils, and also the rainfall amounts.
The Christian Aid report recommended cutting emissions, prevent climate change, accelerating harm caused to tea growing regions. But as experts mount warnings about the dangers of climate change, Kenya's tea growers are already witnessing a drop in production. Kenya's tea industry contributes about 4% of its gross domestic product.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter, and we pray that the Kenyan farmers are successful in other crops they have resorted to. Now, moving on, in our international news, the Ocean Viking, the rescue ship of SOS Mediterranean, picked up 369 new migrants in the Mediterranean on Sunday night after a 6th rescue operation in a few days. Now, according to the SOS Mediterranean, a non-governmental organization, the ship now has 572 survivors on board.
According to SOS Mediterranean from Egypt, Bangladesh and Eritrea, the boat was spotted on radar and then visually around 10 p.m. and rescue operations then lasted more than 5 hours. Among the 369 people rescued on board, 9 women, 1 infant, 2 children, and 110 unaccompanied minors. On Sunday afternoon, the Ocean Viking had already come to the aid of 71 migrants in peril on an extremely overloaded wooden boat in the Maltese Search and Rescue Zone. Its occupants were fleeing Libya, which they had left 3 days earlier, and without food or water on board were exhausted at the time of the rescue. The United Nations recently criticized Libya and the European Union for reforming their search and rescue operations in the Mediterranean Sea, saying that current practices deprive migrants of their rights and dignity, if not take their lives. Since the beginning of 2021, 866 migrants have lost their lives in the Mediterranean trying to reach Europe, according to figures from the International Organization for Migration.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, hundreds of the supporters of the former South African president, Jacob Zuma, including some who traveled more than 400 kilometers, showed their solidarity as they gathered outside Zuma's rural home in the KwaZulu-Natal province and vowed to prevent attempts to arrest him.
Clad in the ruling African National Congress Party regalia bearing Zuma's portrait and t-shirts with the question in Zulu that what has Zuma done, sang songs praising Zuma as a hero of the 1980s struggle against white minority rule. On Sunday, July 4th, the 79-year-old told hundreds of his supporters that he was appealing a prison sentence and demanded justice.
I'm not asking for sympathy, but justice. My age and health condition and any other mitigating circumstances were not considered when the imprisonment was decided.
Last week, South Africa's top court slapped a 15-month jail time on the former president for defying a court order to testify before a graft commission.
Sending me to jail during the height of a pandemic at my age is the same as sentencing me to death.
Several witnesses, including former cabinet ministers and top executives of state-owned corporations, have testified of Zuma's wrongdoing, including allowing his associates, the Gupta family, to influence his cabinet appointments and profitable state contracts. Zuma's deadline to turn himself in, as ordered by the Constitutional Court, expired Sunday and could likely face a possible arrest.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now let's go for a quick break. We shall come back with the health news and business. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. Now turning your attention to Africa Today business. After years of war in Libya, Tunisian traders saw the reopening of the border while their oil-rich neighbor as a good sign. Now between the war and the pandemic, the traders celebrated in hopes that stability in Libya could bring about economic growth in Tunisia. We have more on this report.
According to Jafar bin Ali, a blanket dealer who has spent a whole year without buying supplies from Libya, from 2011 to 2016, the situation was acceptable. After 2016 and the attack of Daesh, the IS group, trade operations between Tunisia and Libya became complicated. They were not trading at ease because goods did not enter Libya at all. The marketplace of Ben Gaden, some 200 kilometers from the Libyan capital Tripoli, are known for their goods arriving via western Libya. Here there is concern about the place reserved for cross-border traders. Fadi Abdu, the mayor of Ben Gaden, said that they hope that the situation will improve so that the citizens who cross the border will not remain blocked there for 2, 3, 4 hours or even the entire day. The resumption of political dialogue in Libya, coupled with the appointment of a transitional executive in March, should lead the country to elections in December, a development that Tunisians have welcomed. According to the Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, a UN agency, the Libyan crisis cost Tunisia 24% of its economic growth between 2011 and 2015.
Now away from business, in Africa Today Health, with megaphones in hand, health workers in Abidjan have taken the COVID-19 vaccination campaign to traders at popular markets in Ivory Coast's financial capital city, urging traders and shopkeepers who are likely to get vaccinated against COVID-19.
Traders and customers at the market in Tricheville, a neighborhood in Abidjan, gathered to register and receive their jabs from a mobile health unit parked outside. According to Amasotu Diallo, the vaccine recipient who came to the market in Tricheville and saw the people in the campaign and took advantage of it, he felt relieved. After the vaccine, Ivorian authorities will ramp up a campaign for the jabs over the next 15 days in more than 130 markets in Abidjan. The aim is to reach those who are unable to get jabbed elsewhere as some African countries deal with the third wave of infections. The World Health Organization has said coronavirus cases numbers are doubling in Africa every 3 weeks. In Ivory Coast, 48,564 people have been infected with the virus. 47,936 people have recovered and at least 315 have died during the pandemic, according to the Johns Hopkins University.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, turning your attention to Africa Today Sports, the 35-year-old Ugandan contingent that traveled to Saudi Arabia for 2 international friendly matches is expected to return to the country on the morning of Wednesday, 7th July 2021. Our reporter has more.
According to the media officer, Lawrence Wanika, the team is expected to touch base at Entebbe International Airport by 7:10 a.m. aboard Qatar Airways on flight QR 1385. During the first game, Uganda and Saudi Arabia played to a goalless draw on Friday, 1st July 2021. 2 days later, Saudi Arabia overcame the visitors 2-0 with a goal in each half from Abdullah Abdurrahman and Hussein Aliam. Both matches were played at the Prince Faisal bin Abdulaziz Stadium in Riyadh City. Uganda used the 2 build-up games as a check-up before the 2021 CECAFA Senior Challenge Cup in Ethiopia, which kicks off on 17th July 2021. Head coach Mole Vyekwaso revealed that the 2 friendly matches helped the team preparations a great deal as the CECAFA tournament comes knocking. The 2021 CECAFA Senior Challenge will be played by the under-23 side with at most 3 over-aged players.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. Now, before we end the bulletin, let's have a recap of our top stories. Uganda to buy 2 million COVID-19 jabs from the US farm. And government postpones the sending of cash to the vulnerable people. Kenya tea growers shift to produce pineapple as climate changes. Now, sports today, Uganda's football contingent confirms return program from Saudi Arabia. Now, thank you so much for joining us. For more, we started from. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.
This is Africa, and that was the news.